So what I wanted to talk about was that human motivation is basically the avoidance of pain and the satisfaction of desire. Okay, so I kind of think that those two things sort of underpin the reason why most people do things. They're either trying to avoid something that is a problem for them, a negative, or there is some sort of desire that they have which is often driven by that problem as well. So in terms of design, we try and understand that, to really look, listen and feel, to understand where people are coming from, and then basically create the solution or the bait, I guess, to draw them in. On the overhead thing here, you've got Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I don't know if many of you would have seen this before, but I think that you can go through this hierarchy of needs that every person can identify with, and you can see how different industries tap into these in order to basically create their own power. So it is a manipulation of essentially what every person desires, what every person needs to exist, and the path that every person is taking. So if you look at biological and physiological needs, for example, you look at like the nutrition, sex and health industries, those industries are all baited towards the biological and physical needs of a person. So by understanding that particular area in which they sit, they can create power of manipulation. The next one would be like safety needs, which would be industries like insurance, politics and law. I think we all know, having had the recent election, that certainly politicians play on so many fears about safety for us, and that's how they manipulate us to draw us in and make us vote in a certain way. When we look at things like, you know, the crime shows that are out there, are they just that exciting because they're full of drama, or is it because of some innate sense of safety that we have, or fear, or not knowing what's going on in the minds of a criminal? Is that why we're interested in watching those shows? Then you look at belongingness and love needs, and we look at things like Facebook and dating sites. These are headed towards that area because they understand that what we all need is a sense of community. And basically the people who create those sites and create these ideas, they're looking at this area and really trying to understand what is it that people crave in this isolated world today when we're so surrounded by technology. Really what we're after is some human interaction, and so they use the internet to provide that for us. Also, if we look at advertising, I don't know who here watches the Gruen Transfer, but it's a particularly good show because it really deconstructs a lot of these different things, but particularly belonging and love needs. They have so many ads on there that are about being a good parent and playing upon a woman's emotional issues or her insecurities. And our need to fit in with the tribe. If you look at people like Apple, they're very, very good at creating a certain identity in their product that makes us want to be part of that tribe. Then we look at things like self-esteem, and this is where retail and luxury come in, and this is an area in which we play quite strongly because we do a lot of retail design, restaurant design and that sort of thing. So I think in terms of esteem needs, you also need to look at the need for people to feel like informed individuals. So in order to develop a sense of their own esteem, they need to be able to access information, which we also do via the web. Cognitive needs are things like training programs, documentaries, education and newspapers. And also the cognitive needs also encompass the need to feel like we're part of a style or culture or an aesthete. If we look at aesthetic needs, then we're looking at things like retail, art, entertainment and architecture. I don't know if any of you have noticed, but if you look at the Opera House, it's got those massive steps at the front and you think, oh, well, that's very pleasant, isn't it? But what that's actually doing as an architectural feature is drawing you in. You look at those stairs and they're so much bigger than you, and you feel the need to climb them to see what's at the top. So it's actually an architectural device that is created to give the building power, to draw you into that space. So it's actually making you act in a certain way, it's manipulating you. Self-realization is the area of things like religion, philosophy, yoga and martial arts. And basically that's the area in which you need to feel like you have belonging, self-esteem and have become a settled person. And so we see that a lot of the different religious groups, the sort of new life things like yoga and stuff like that tend to target that area. If you can go through the next slide, thanks. I think if you look at our logo, you can see the way in which we have intentionally manipulated this logo in order to attract people to our business. So the font is round, it's friendly, it makes us seem like we're approachable. the arrows coming together, one of them has a cutout, so it is incomplete. But in what we do, we take an incomplete idea and make it a whole. We make it a whole experience for people. Then it comes to the colours as well. The red is the energy, is the excitement of retail and restaurants. The blue is being settled in that space, belonging within that space and being whole within it. So we're hoping that the customers of our clients will come into their spaces and feel like they're part of that they want to be loyal, that they want to enjoy this space and indulge in it. If you could go through to the next one. I think one of the first things in our process is that we tend to look at how we can engage the client first of all, and this is just some of our concept boards. This is for a project called Blue Plate Bar and Grill, and we were trying to create an atmosphere of like a New York jazz bar type style, and the client came to us with a brief in that direction, but in order to sell the fact that they should go forward with our concept, we needed to express that idea back to them emotionally. So we put forward concept images to help them to understand that. These images here are of the final product, and I think you can see how we've manipulated those original ideas that the client came to us with in order to draw people into the space. There's a real sense of theatre about it, indulgence. It's a place where they actually sell like ribs and oysters and stuff. The price is only sort of mid-range. It's not that expensive, but the consumer is aspirational. And so we draw them in and manipulate the space in terms of the colours, the finishes, and the overall mood in order to get those people to come in, to feel comfortable, to return to this space over and over again, and to find that the food is that much better that they will pay a slightly higher price for it than they would around the corner, and to almost feel like it tastes better because it's in an amazing context. So I guess basically what I'm trying to say is that if you look at advertising or you look at, even social organisations, charities, etc., if you're part of one of those organisations, you really need to understand how your consumer or market thinks and feels. Have a look at how you would like to be treated and try and identify the similarities and the empathy in that relationship, and then try to pitch, whether it's a talk or a presentation, whether it's a space or a logo, try and pitch that to that empathy that you find and to those needs that people have. And that way you'll be able to essentially manipulate them, although it can absolutely be for a positive cause and it's not just the realms of corporatism and consumerism. Okay.